Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at the tarot cards for this full moon in Capricorn, which is landing tomorrow here in Australia on the 22nd. Obviously that means that right now is the 21st when I'm recording this, and it is the solstice. So here we are in winter. It is the shortest day. And from here on in, the days gradually grow a little longer. We gradually get a little more sunlight, a little more solar energy. And there's something really interesting that I'm noticing this year, which is that I'm feeling really connected to the I guess, the paradox that on the other side of the world, the opposite is true. And in the Northern Hemisphere, it's today the longest day, with the days getting gradually shorter from here in. Paradox isn't really the right word because it's incredibly natural and obvious, but there's also something there around needing to hold together kind of these vying realities. That on the one hand, my experience is of the shortest day, and at the same time, I know that many others are having the longest. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of introduce today's reading with this connectivity, because the theme in today's tarot is very much around the implicit unity that we find within any kind of polarity. The first card we'll look at today is the Two of Discs. And in the imagery on the card, we see a six-pointed star, a hexagram, which represents the principle of correspondence, the as above, so below, the ascending and descending forces. And for me, I experience this primarily in the rising and falling of breath in my body. Below the six-pointed star is a pentacle, a five-pointed star, and this symbol represents the five elements. The four traditional elements of earth, water, fire, and air, and the fifth element of ether. For me, ether is analogous to simply space. Whenever energy transmits through a medium, there's always a need for exactly that, a medium, some kind of conductive substrate, some resistance. It could be incredibly low, but there's still some kind of resistance or impedance there. And this conductive medium is often invisible. It lives almost in a conceptual, imaginative space for us. And so I see this duality forming here between the principle of correspondence, this experience of ascending and descending energies that we literally breathe in our bodies, and this invitation to expand out to a wider field of reality, to a consciousness that is not so much tactile or embodied, but imaginative, or I guess just simply out there. So in the space between these two nodes of polarity, we see the infinity symbol. And this is a depiction of flow, of perpetual motion, of energy in motion, and ultimately of unity, of oneness. There's no beginning and end to the flow. The two discs are almost applying a creative pressure that is shaping and containing the unity within. So here we're beginning to see the emergence of this theme of polarity as a container or medium for the expression of unity. The next card we'll look at is the Two of Cups. This is a very similar depiction to the Two of Discs. The two cups are here kind of in close proximity to one another, effectively mirroring one another in a very beautiful display of harmony and symbiosis. In the space between the cups, we see this beautiful flow of water, and the water is merging in, again, a creative tension or a tensity in the space between the cups. From this point of unification blooms two lotus flowers. Today, I was talking with a friend about some of the patterns that I was seeing in the tarot lately, and we were able to, through our conversation, uncover some really, really rich new ideas that were only really a product of our coming together, of our symbiosis, and of our seeing each other and mirroring. And I want to acknowledge that a lot of the work I do is really only in collaboration with others. That's really where the juicy creative energy begins to flow and genuinely generate new life, something novel, some kind of evolution or advancement. So, friends, if you're listening, thank you for these conversations. You know who you are. And I wanted to bring that piece into this reading because it really, I think, resonates strongly with the imagery we see here on this card. The last point I want to make about this card is around the sense of dimensionality here. The two cups mirror each other in the vertical plane, and the pressure that is formed between the cups generates emotion on the horizontal plane with the flowers blooming outward. My read on this is kind of around the experience of something new or unexpected happening when we come into relationship with someone, and that there's always the potential for something that we couldn't even imagine or dream of to occur. Whilst the cups are directed at one another, the emergence of new life is outward into this kind of new space, this new exploratory space. The final card we'll look at for today's reading is the Hierophant, a major arcana. The Hierophant walks a tight line across a bridge, and they simply must, because if they were to step too far to one side or the other, they would not complete their journey. They would fall from the bridge. The bridge is a pathway, and specifically it's a pathway through polarity. To the left, we see the light of the sun, and to the right, the light of the moon. The sunlight is an active, projective energy, whereas the moon is reflective and receptive. On the solar side, we also see fire, whereas underneath the moon, we have water. And the Hierophant holds in their right hand a scroll. We can't see the contents of the scroll, but we can see the outside, and we see the word tarot written backwards, forwards, inside out. If we look closely at the Hierophant's right hand, we see both the 5 and 6-pointed stars. There's a link back to the Two of Discs here. The Hierophant's left hand is held close to their left ear. They're in a posture of listening, of deep listening, and they're encouraging us to do so also. The invitation here is to listen to both the active and receptive ways of being, to remain balanced between acting as a creator in the world and projecting our will and shaping, being an agent of change, and simply being a vessel, being a willing recipient to receive information and guidance from our environment that helps us to make decisions and present more purposefully here. So yeah, the invitation is to walk that path, to remain in close contact with these seemingly opposite modes of creating. And yet, as we've seen, the duality, the polarity of these ways is simply an expression of unity, of oneness and harmony. So that's my reading for today. I really hope this information lands for you and you're able to integrate this into your experience in some way that helps things ground, balance, shift, whatever it is that you need right now. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and I'll be back again soon with another reading.